Five Sons, Julian, when I was in Arnhem in the Netherlands. He actually booked a day for us to go and link up with his other music friends, like in a different scene. I guess they're kind of in their own lanes to go spend a whole day in the studio. And I was so hungover that day. But we made it, and I don't know, I think we made 3 songs. We made like a little EP. That was super fire. I made a song with Juche when I was in Lausanne, which I pray will come out this year. It's one of my favorite things ever. Just so incredible. Yeah, I made music everywhere. They say that where you are changes what comes out of you, and I think that saying was originally said by an author or a writer. And they talk about, like, if you're in your place of comfort in your writing and you're not making any progress, go somewhere else. And I think that's why you see most people, every time you walk into a Starbucks, it's filled with people on their laptops writing the next great American novel, right? But it's the whole perception about being outside of, like, the place where you traditionally do that thing. So everything that I made when I was overseas was totally different than the stuff that I was making at home. And I've noticed, like, oh, I'm going to go to Colorado. I wonder if what comes out of me there will be different. Totally different.
Where has your best music come from? Where have you been?
I mean, the stuff that I've made in Colorado is super, super fire so far, just because it's the kind of stuff that I didn't think I'd make. Being out here, being surrounded by, like, the heavy dubstep influence and, like, the darker, more aggressive kind of, like, bass side of electronic music, it's kind of pushed me, you know, just because when I go and hang out with my friends, that's what they're playing in the car. Or if somebody wants to go to a show and I go with them, that's what they go to see. So it's totally different from anything that I'd encounter through my own volition back in New York. But I made a bunch of super dope stuff in January in Oklahoma City that I thought was super fire.
Yes. Love Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma City's pretty interesting.
Yeah.
There's definitely some good freaking people out there for sure.
Nicest people I've ever come across are the people in Oklahoma for the most part, especially coming from the East Coast. And funny, last time I was in Oklahoma was in April, and it was like a crazy storm, like tornado warning, so our flight was a little delayed. So I went to the bar to have a beer, and there just happened to be a woman from North Jersey at the bar, and we connected and we were talking, and I was like, so what do you think? You like it here? She's like, no. No, the people are too nice here. Like, what? She's like, yeah, they, like, ask me how I'm doing. People smile and say hi. I'm like, yeah, it's
great.
Fucking great, isn't it? She's like, no. I'm like, typical North Jersey.
Is there any kind of scene in Oklahoma City for Wave, or is it just people out there that you know doing things?
Most of the people that I know that are out there complain about there not being a scene at all. The big, like, touring dubstep acts will roll through and play 2 nights, and then it seems to be, like, radio silent for a while. It was pretty poppin' back when, like, the blog house scene was still super big. But just hearsay from my friends that live out there, there's really not a lot going on.
Yeah.
So we're talking about different types of music. What do you consider yourself? You consider yourself a producer, an artist, a DJ?
I actually would prefer to call myself a producer because I do a little bit of everything when it comes down to, like, what I do to. I'm trying to keep a full.
Keep that fist, bro. Like you're getting down on it. You know what I'm saying?
Because I do write and I do engineer and I do produce and I make my own sounds and I mix and master all my own stuff. I do every piece of the puzzle, you know? So I think in a lot of ways that's what makes me, like, I think I was an artist in a previous life, for sure. I've done some things that aren't music related, but I don't know. I think there's, like, a strange, cocky connotation to that.
When you say that, like art, like paintings and stuff, or?
I've done a bunch of. See, this is interesting. I want to figure out how much of, like, the other side of my life that people don't know about that I want to go.
Dog. You gotta let them know who Just Connor is, kid.
I ran a fine art production studio for a while, and I've done a ton of prototyping and mold making and resin production, all things that people bought considering it to be art. So I guess you could say I'm an artist in that regard. I helped produce a art magazine for a while, so I guess that would make me an artist. I don't know. I feel like I'm a musician.
Right on.
Was that what you were doing before you went to Europe?
Yeah,
Okay.
I loved it.
Yeah.
I have a tendency to be a bit of an workaholic, and so I have no problem like taking on 80 plus hours a week if I'm enjoying what I'm doing, and having a job or jobs that have rigid set deadlines that make it makes it easier to see progress. You can actually, it's like quantifiable. You can see, oh, like we're moving towards, you get that constant sense of progression. That's addicting for me. So, yeah, I was working my little ass off, but loving every fucking second of it. Super dope.
And are you looking into any sort of stuff like that here, or are you fully engrossed in the music right now?
I'm looking to do anything that's not music to try and pull in some inspiration. I'm in like a little bit of a lull spot right now. When I first moved out here, I was making more music of a different caliber that was blowing my mind. Every day I sat down and made something and was like, wow, I can't believe I made that. I've burnt out, so I'm trying to find something new that's going to spark that fire. I'd love to work in a gallery again, coordinate another gallery, or work in another magazine, or do graphic design for a firm, do some 2D and 3D art for, clients if anybody wanted me to freelance. I do a ton of sound engineering, so I'm mixing and mastering 2 separate albums right now after the 40-hour week job. You got to stay busy.
You sound like you're pretty busy.
Yeah.
Always in motion.
I can't stop. It's when I was having a conversation today with a coworker about, oh, your weekend sounds super busy. Like, why didn't you take a day off? Right? Like, I don't know what that is. If I give myself a day off, I'm miserable. Oh, I could be doing this. Oh, I could be doing that. I'm wasting my time. And like, I'm aware that that's the one thing that I can't get back. You can spend time to make money, but you can't spend money to make time. So I'm trying to make the most of my time while I've got it.
It's deep.
Do you take time to enjoy your life, or is it constantly?
Are you getting out climbing?
I've been practicing at the gym for a while. I'm really hoping to practice. I've been going 4 or 5 times a week, making constant progression. But I'm looking to get myself good so in the spring I can go out and start doing some fucking start bouldering some gnarly rocks. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting all excited thinking about it. Actually, no, I'm not taking any time to enjoy anything. So this was a conversation that I have a super close cousin who's acted as a bit of a mentor in different stages of my life, and I called him, or he called me, and he was talking to me, and I was like, I actually have a question for you. He's just calling to check in, and I was like, this is the first time in the last 5 years of my life where I don't have like a goal that I'm pursuing, like a solid goal. I've done every single thing I've set out to do, which, cool, I've got a couple accolades that I'm really stoked about. Like, I remember like losing my fucking mind the first time I heard my music being played on the radio, or the first time I signed a record, and those things were like, still like little flames that are helping keeping me going. But I wanted to move to Colorado. I wanted to travel. I wanted to make all this music. I wanted to make a second Realm EP. I wanted to make a bunch more clothes. I wanted to do all this stuff, and then I did it. And now I still have little projects and little things that I'm working on, but I don't have any concrete, like, that's the next step. So I feel like I'm floundering, trying to like spend all my time doing as much as possible so I can figure out what that is. And so I was saying this to my cousin, and he's like, have you like provided yourself the time or the opportunity to just go outside and breathe the Colorado mountain air? No? Oh, maybe that's what my goal is. Maybe I need to just like be.
We got to get you to 14,000 feet.
That would be awesome.
Yeah,
that would actually
dude.
be super awesome.
Thank you. I like it.
I was talking to Jimmy, of course, about training, the concept of training. I'm always trying to do things where I am testing my own discipline. I do things for the sole purpose of, continuing to, test my mettle and strengthen my willpower. I ran in high school. I was on the track team. I haven't run. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm sitting across from the 100-mile dick right now. You can't lie. You can't lie. I haven't seriously ran in 4 years. And just having conversations with Jimmy about training and running and doing things with intent. Oh, okay. I'm going to push myself and go for a run. And I ran every day for a week. And then I ran a little bit more than that. And then I ran a little bit more than that. And I was like, oh, fuck, I fucking love this. Are you going to have to cut out all my curse
No,
words?
you can let it
Let
go.
it fly.
Dog. Let it go.
And I was finding that making myself do something that I knew I would enjoy once I got into the swing of things, but hadn't given myself that time, brought a new light into my day. And then I was able to, carry that energy into climbing when I started climbing, trying to not push myself too hard, try not to sprain my wrists or anything. But I forgot what the question was. I'm sorry.
Well, going to enjoying yourself,
Enjoying
right,
yourself.
and saying, I feel like I'm not creative right now because I don't have any goals is kind of what I'm getting at.
Yeah, so nailed it. Do you want me to interview you?
You already know the whole book, dog.
But I guess long story short, I was in the car yesterday, and one of my friends wanted me to play a new song off the new Realm EP, which will be coming out before the end of the year. A little plug. And was complimenting me on it, and I've never really been a gracious compliment receiver. I feel like I've always tried really hard to be a great compliment giver. And the thought that went through my mind, the words that came out of my mouth were, oh, I can't wait to hear what I make next year. And it was saying it out loud, hearing yourself say things. I got goosebumps, my hair all stood up, and I could literally feel this wall of stress wash off my body. And I related back to the conversation I was having with my cousin about have you, provided yourself the opportunity to just be. And all of a sudden, I wasn't worried about what music I was going to make in the next month or the next 2 or 3 or in December. But if I keep being, whatever comes out next year will be, something that I know I'll be fond of. And so that's really fucking exciting. That felt like it was a huge breakthrough for me. Because now I'm excited to just be. I'm excited to be here. I'm excited to be with you guys. To be in this building, like I was saying, with all the energy. It's wow. That's incredible. I'm excited to climb after this and then go out for dinner after that and hopefully get some sleep, and we'll see what tomorrow brings. You know what I mean? What are you laughing at?
Nothing, dog.
Do you meditate?
I meditated more frequently when I was younger. I grew up with terrible migraines. I tried every prescription medication that was marketed for migraines, and then I was prescribed medication that wasn't prescribed for migraines. Ended up settling on one that is now used for migraines, but is a anti-seizure medication.
Uh-huh.
I'm not on any medication at this point in my life. I've worked really hard to get off from that. But I had a child neurologist. I aged out of him, unfortunately, but he would always ask, have you tried drinking more water and meditating? So I started meditating probably when I was 15 or 16, to the extent that I think that I could have at the time. I feel like meditation for me now kind of, it means a little more. It invokes a different state of mind, more so than just whatever the breathing exercises I was practicing at the time was. I have found that the running has led me to meditative states. I was a little excited. I was going on a date, and I didn't know, I wanted to get that energy out of me, or at least channel it into a place where it wouldn't fester. And so I went for a run, and I found that maybe 4 or 5 minutes in, I couldn't keep a thought in my head. And it clicked oh, this is it. This is what you want. And I just let my legs take me.